Decided to make an updated video of how I make my safety eyes since I am doing a slightly new process now. I have started using resin, and I've also started using UV nail polish as well. I kind of go back and forth between the two, so just gonna give you guys an idea of how I make them in a bunch of different ways, so stay tuned. First set I'll show is a paint glow-in-the-dark set, so got glitter and paint that both glow. So these both require UV light to shine, so they're great for if you have a UV light, not super great if you don't, but I'm just going to do a quick show. I don't mix the resin with the glitter when I'm only doing one. I only do that when I'm mixing multiple glitter colors. So I'm just going to kind of show you my process, which is I put on a layer of resin or the UV nail polish. Nail polish is a little bit easier. I actually do have an old UV nail polish bottle that I used all of it up, and so I just started replacing it with resin, so that way I have a brush to use. But just brush on a layer, sprinkle on some glitter, make sure you don't have too much excess, then I cure it, then I add another layer of resin, cure it again, and then I paint it. So just as kind of an explanation, but I'm going to kind of fast forward through this process now. So once I'm done pouring the glitter, I tap off the excess onto the other eye just so I can try and avoid using too much. Make sure you kind of clean up the sides. I just use my fingers. Not too terribly worried about it, since I am using the nail polish instead of actually resin, but I'm also not touching the resin or the polish if I can help it. And then the reason I use these cups is because then I can try and salvage as much as I can back into the container. Because I don't use a lot, but this stuff can get a little pricey over time if you tend to waste a lot, so try and salvage what I can. So now these guys go in to get cured, which mine's set for 3 minutes, so I'm just going to set them in there, and while those cure, I'm going to work on the next set. Since I'm already working with glitter, I'm just going to go ahead and do the next one, which I am using 2 different colors of glitter. This is going to be a new one. I haven't tried this before, so I'm actually going to take some tweezers to apply these nail stickers onto these eyes first. So, to do nail stickers, make sure your cover of the eye is out of the way. And then you're going to want to paint on a layer of resin or nail polish, whatever you're using. I'll fast forward through this process. Okay, so these nail stickers, always kind of be careful if you're using them. They don't peel super easily sometimes, depending on the brand you get. They're all pretty cheap. But I want the gold side standing out, so, which is of course the not sticky side usually, is the side you want. So that's why you need the resin first. You just go ahead and set it upside down inside the resin. And I try and match them when I can, or at least try and make them as symmetrical as possible. I know some people don't really care about that. Most of the eyes I'm doing today are actually going to be sticker based, so I'm just going to show you the one pair. So biggest thing, trying to match up what they look like, so I try and set the pupils the same way if possible, which is not my strongest suit. And so now put a spider there, going for a Halloween theme here. So you just keep placing nail stickers until you've got the look you want. and then I will come back and show you what I do once they're all placed. Okay, so got the nail stickers set. So you can also cut them in half, and you'll see sometimes they overhang. So I just suggest curing them and then cutting off that overhang before you lay on the next layer. They're not always going to be exactly identical because also the stickers are not always going to be the same size or shape, but in general I like to try and keep them as same as I can. And so that way when they put on the eyes they look the same. And then we'll back those with the glitter in just a second when they're cured. I did cut off the edges on this one, so you can see they're cleaner edges around them. They have a second coat. So now I'm going to show you how I do 2 sets of glitter. So this was the one set where I just poured it straight on top of the eye. I will paint those in a bit. So now I'm going to mix red and black, but I want them to maintain their color, so I don't want to actually mix them. So go ahead and pour in some resin. Now a reminder, this is resin. Probably should be using gloves. Probably, I do have the window open, so I do have some ventilation, but I probably should be using gloves. Just safety always, like my husband says. I just can't find the gloves today, so I'm not about to go traipsing through my garage that is currently full of spiders. So pour in some resin, pour in some glitter. Probably put way too much resin for glitter ratio here, actually, but I can always adjust. And if there's any left, I'm sure I can find another pair of eyes to throw this onto. So you do want kind of it to be more glitter than resin because it will spread if you have too much resin, and then you're not really getting the glitter effect you want. So make sure you try and have a pretty good ratio. I haven't quite perfected how much, but I'd say at least double the amount of glitter you would probably expect. And then I actually want to put them on both at the same time, so I'm going to make the red one too. Let's try and not do as much resin. And then just mix them up on opposite sides. It's not really a big deal that they cross-contaminate a bit because they are going to be put onto the same eye anyway. I think that's pretty good consistency. So now what I do is I just start blotting the eyes. I just make little piles of the various colors. And again, I try and be somewhat symmetrical. I'm not always great at it though, and honestly, most people don't care so much, but that's just my personal preference. I'll dab a little bit more red on each one. Okay, so I spread out my red a bit. Now come in with the black and add that to the gaps. Sorry, I realized I was off camera for a second. Unfortunately, this is not something I can undo. It's really hard to show you guys on camera because I have to hold the eye, which means my hand is in the way. But just kind of scoop out and dab on where you want the color. Now, I've never done red and black mixed together. Usually I'm doing super colorful, but I wanted to try something a bit different, especially Halloween patterns are really starting to crop up now. So these would be great for a Halloween theme item. So once you've got your colors, you can either leave them like that, but I tend to kind of try and swirl them together a little bit so your black and your red mix, but they still have their own separate identity, if you will. I went ahead and off camera added a bit more glitter. I just used what I did have left. I only had little tiny bits, but sometimes the glitter will tend to go inwards and not settle on the outside, and so I just added a little bit more on the outside just to kind of fill in any blank spots. So for now, we've got this, and now I use paint to kind of back it up, because if you can see, there's some spots where it's just a little thin, and so you can see through to it. The other side, so I'm gonna just use red to back these ones, and for this, it's literally just paint. This is nothing complicated. Just take a paintbrush, paint it on. Now I do let the paint dry and then I do a UV coat behind it, because if I am sending these out to a friend, I don't want them to get damaged in shipping. And honestly, for myself, it's peace of mind if I need to wash a stuffy or it somehow gets underwater. I don't want anything to get ruined if they get soaked. So I just spread on paint. For the ones that are glitter, you don't need to do too many coats, but you definitely want to make sure it's thicker. You can see my paint is kind of thin, so I'll go in and do one coat, I'll let it dry, and then I'll come back and do another coat until I feel like it's got enough thickness to it, so that way it can't be seen. You can't see through the glitter. So I'm going to finish coating these ones. And then I need to coat my glow in the dark with the glow paint, which is the same thing, so I'm not going to go ahead and show you guys that part. So next thing I'm going to show is I got these cool little foils in one of my packs. It's hard to see, but I'm going to just tear these apart. I already put down a thin layer of UV, so I just go ahead and just dot these on random places, and it kind of comes out with this really weird effect. I've only done it once, but I'm gonna do another one today. So just kind of try and make sure they're flat as much as possible, just so they don't cause any bubbles. But you can do little tiny pieces, you can do big pieces, that's up to you. And I'll try and put a picture in the video of what the final product looks like, because I probably won't get around to that today. But yeah. And I usually just paint black behind this kind of thing, just like with chameleon flakes. Just a little bit of black behind it. Try and break it up a little bit. So, again, hard to see. Gotta get the camera to focus. And then from a front view. So the set that I did, it almost looked like there were little rocks in the eyes. So it was pretty cool. I did silver on that one. This one's rose gold. So just another thought of things you can do with your eyes. I've heard people use real flowers in theirs, real dried flowers. So the possibilities are endless. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this helps you with your own eyes. I will go ahead and post photos after the video of final product, just so you can see what they came out like. Thanks for watching my video.